If you're just starting out in Core Keeper, then this is the video for you. We'll go over what Core Keeper is all about, how to get started, and the general progression of the game. Well, firstly, what is Core Keeper? Core Keeper is a survival sandbox game which incorporates crafting, combat, farming, mining, and boss fights in an underground environment. Mine relics and resources to build your base, craft new equipment, survive, and power up the core. Defeat giant monsters, discover hidden secrets, farm crops, cook new recipes, and explore the procedurally generated underground world. Core Keeper has taken inspiration from many games such as Terraria, Stardew Valley, Valheim, Minecraft, and more. So if you're familiar with one of the games mentioned and you enjoy that, then you'll probably love this game too. And just a heads up before we jump into the rest of the video, I will be referencing actions from a mouse and keyboard perspective. However, it does offer controller support if you wish to go down that route. So that's pretty sweet. When you open the game, you'll have the ability to create 30 worlds and 30 characters. The world itself is auto-generated, and as for the characters, you have two types to choose from. You can either pick a standard character, which respawns after dying, or a hardcore character, which does not. Once you have chosen the type of character you wish to play, you'll have to decide on the appearance and the background. I don't think I have to go over the appearance side of things, though as for the background, this will give you a head start in the game in specific areas with special starting perks, so choose wisely. That said, they don't really amount to much in all honesty. For example, I like to choose the miner as it starts you off with a copper pickaxe and you'll be mining a ton throughout the game. It just speeds up those very early stages of the game. Though of course this is just a personal choice for me. When you spawn into the world, you'll start in the middle of the map at the core within the dirt biome. Interacting with the core will indicate that it seems powered down. I won't say too much about the core to prevent spoilers, but you may want to revisit this when you progress further in the game. You'll want to begin your adventure by crafting armor, tools, and farming crops to survive. The tab key on your keyboard will bring up your inventory along with your basic crafting and player stats. You can create a couple of wooden tools and some torches along with a basic workbench to get you going. Along with your inventory, you have a character menu which displays equipable slots, from basic armor to accessories such as rings and a necklace. You can view your character stats by clicking on the button above your avatar. This will display your health, defense, offense, and adventure stats. There's also a skills tab at the top where you can work towards upgrading certain skills such as mining. As you mine, you'll start leveling up your mining skill, and for every 5 levels you'll be granted a skill point to use within the skill tree. After you've completed the first 5 in the skill tree, you can then choose a path to follow. So have a read, decide what works for your playstyle, and go from there. Don't worry too much. If you select one and you feel like you've made a mistake, you can change these later in the game very easily. So feel free to experiment with these. That's all we'll cover on the skills for now though. Perhaps we'll go into more detail in a future video. As for the rest of the HUD, your health and your food is displayed in the top left corner along with any buffs and debuffs just underneath. The hotbar at the bottom of the screen for any items you want to use on the fly. The minimap in the top right corner, and you can also bring up the map by pressing M on your keyboard. The world itself is absolutely huge and I've barely scratched the surface. There's so much more to explore and they're adding even more to the game as it continues to be developed. Once you have created a basic workbench, you can place this on the ground by adding it to your hotbar, selecting it so that it's in your hand, and then right click to place it on the ground. We can then interact with the workbench by pressing E, see what you can craft, and this is what you want to start working towards. On the left you have tools, in the middle are additional crafting items which you'll use to create different items, and on the right are base items such as walls, flooring, and doors. As for armor and tools, wood will be the starting point, just like many other games. Once you're equipped with at least a wooden pickaxe, begin digging in a direction and searching for copper ore. Copper is the next tier of armor and tools, and it's very easy to acquire. When you're exploring and digging, you'll notice sparkles on the screen, which indicates an ore vein. There are actually 2 types of sparkles you'll come across, one for ore and another for fishing, but you'll quickly learn which is which. Once you have enough copper ore, you can begin crafting copper tools to upgrade your current set. If you haven't already, you'll need to craft a basic workbench which only requires 8 wood. Press E on the workbench to interact with it, and from here you'll need to craft a furnace. This will require 20 dirt walls. Place the ore into the furnace and it will begin smelting down into copper bars. With the copper bars smelted down, you can now craft copper tools. Use the same methods to create armor, but for this you'll need to craft a copper anvil. Follow the same steps that we've just gone over and you'll be kitted out in no time. The next thing I would recommend doing is leaving a like on the video if you found this helpful so far, because this channel needs kitting out too, man. No? Ah well, I tried. So that's the physical aspect covered. What about your health and hunger? This begins with the crops themselves, so we'll talk about the seeds you'll encounter very early on and what they're used for. You'll start by finding crops around the biome. You can harvest said crop by clicking on it. Each time you harvest the crop, there's a chance it will drop a seed, where you can replant and grow your own. The 4 main seeds you'll find at the beginning are heartberry seeds for making food, bomb pepper seeds also for making food, root seeds for making wood, and glow tulip seeds, which can also be used for food, but they're also a very attractive light source. I experimented with my glow tulips at first to make some food, though I've since stopped and I've just kept them all for lighting around my base. To plant the seeds, you'll need a hoe and a watering can. Simply pick an area, hoe the ground, place the crop with right click and finish it off by adding some water. It's probably a good idea to have some water close by to refill, as you tend to run out pretty quickly. I did this by relocating a water source and digging a trench to my base. You can dig up the floor with a spade by right clicking on the ground until it breaks. As you break away the floor, connect this to the water source and the water does the rest of the work. As for the root seed, this creates a root block that will start growing wood outwards. This is a great wood source, and I would recommend having a few of these in a closed off area, as they tend to spread out quite far and it will get messy. As for farming the wood, it's probably best that you use the sword, as they'll break quicker and your sword won't deal any damage to the root itself, unlike other tools. Now we'll talk about the food. There's a wide range of food in the game, and we'll start with the most accessible when starting out, and those are the heartberries and bomb peppers. Food in Core Keeper consists of combining 2 ingredients together to create something more edible. Each food has its own effect: increased armor, health, attack damage, etc. Some can also give negative effects. You can theoretically eat food without combining them, but it's not really worth it in most cases. So heartberries and bomb peppers combined makes a hearty pepper wrap. To do this, you'll need to craft a cooking pot within the basic workbench. Once you have a cooking pot, simply add both ingredients to the pot, doesn't matter which order, and that's it. Consuming a hearty pepper wrap will grant 21% movement speed for 1 minute, 25 max health for 5 minutes, and 2.8 health every second for 20 seconds. Like mentioned, there are so many other ingredients out there, so just start combining different ingredients and see what it makes. Oh, and your character actually keeps track of all the recipes, so once you've discovered a new recipe, it will be recorded in the green book icon of the cooking pot. You can click on the individual ingredient and it will display everything it can make from what you have discovered previously, so that's pretty cool. If you have a fishing rod, you can fish for food and other items, though that's not something we're going to cover in this video. However, if that's a video you guys would be interested in, let me know in the comments below. Whilst exploring, you're going to use a lot of torches, and switching between your weapon and torch is a pain in the butt. Luckily, there's a quick swap key you can use to actively use your torch while you have something else selected. As long as you have some torches on your character, doesn't have to be on your hotkeys, just hold down the shift key and it will select your torch. Release it and it will go back to whatever you had selected in the first place. Probably one of the best starter tips out there. As for life, assuming you're playing on a standard type character, when you die, you'll keep everything you have on your hotbar. Everything you had in the rest of your inventory will be placed inside a tombstone where you died, waiting to be retrieved. Simply make your way back to the tombstone, give it a whack, and you'll pick up everything you had when you died. Oh, and when you die, the tombstone is marked on the map, just in case you have a hard time finding it. But there's more. When you pick up the tombstone, you actually pick up a tombstone, which can be placed as a normal block. I'll make my graveyard of derps soon. I died a lot. So at this point, you've established base, farmed all the materials you need for tools, armor, and food. Now it's time to progress further. And to do this, you'll need to locate and defeat the first boss, the slime giant itself, Glurch the Abominous Mass. You've likely come across Glurch already, but if you haven't and you want to know the easiest way to take this boss down, then you need to watch this video next.